Hi there, welcome to my channel. I'm Pamela and we're in my kitchen where I share with you some of my favorite recipes or those most requested by friends and family. Today we're going to be making superfood breakfast cookies. I found this recipe about a year ago on a website called Wife Mama Foodie, and it has quickly become a family favorite. I make these cookies for my grandchildren who love them. They're 2 and 4 years old, and we all know how fussy small children can be about what they eat, but they are always excited when I bring these over. The cookies are free of refined sugars, dairy, gluten, and they're vegan friendly. They are chock full of nutritious ingredients, and I think you're going to be surprised just how tasty they are. If you've got a sweet tooth but you really don't want to eat something with refined sugars and flours, this would be the recipe for you. So let's get started. Okay, so we've got a big bowl and we're going to add our old-fashioned oatmeal. By the way, I'm doubling the recipe. The recipe makes 9 cookies, and it's just not enough because I like to share them with other family members. Now, it also calls for oat flour. You do not have to go purchase oat flour. I never have it in the house. I just make my own. All you do is take some oatmeal, and you can actually use old-fashioned or quick cooking oats, but the recipe calls for old-fashioned, but if you're going to make the oat flour, you can just go ahead and use that as well. But either works for the flour. I would use old-fashioned for the cookies. So I'm just going to grind this up until it's almost a powder. That looks good. So there's our oat flour. Now, we're going to add some walnuts and some pumpkin seeds. Now, if you don't care for walnuts or pumpkin seeds, you can certainly use any other nut that you prefer. My family especially loves dried blueberries for the fruit in this recipe, but cranberries, dried cranberries, or raisins work just as well. Sometimes dried cranberries are pretty hard, depending on the brand you buy. So you may want to soak them for 15 minutes in some warm water if you're going to use dried cranberries. But like I said, depending on the brand, they could be nice and soft. So I've got my blueberries in here. Now I've got some ground flax seeds or flax meal. And it's very important that you do use ground flax seeds in this recipe. And honestly, in all recipes, because if you eat ground flax seeds without grinding them, you're probably just going to pass them right through, and you're not going to benefit from the nutritional value of them because you're not digesting them properly. So ground flax seeds and some chia seeds. Now, the flax and the chia are going to be our binder in this recipe, so it's very important that you use those and don't substitute for something else. If you're not familiar with chia seeds, just like flax, they're full of fiber and nutrition. Chia seeds, when you add water to them, can get like gelatinous, like Jello, real. Well, that's pretty much it. They're like a lot like Jello. And I've made chia seed pudding with these before, and you can Google that if you think it's something you'd like to try. But that's what pulls this cookie together. So it's important to have those in there. Now, we've got cinnamon. And to be honest with you, I use almost triple what she calls for. But I'm just going to give you the recipe that I make. And it's her recipe. It's just basically more cinnamon and my own choice of nuts and fruit. Some salt and some baking powder I just put in. The baking powder, to be honest with you, is not going to cause your cookie to rise or puff up very much. So don't expect when you take them out that they will change very much from the shape they're in when they go into the oven. We've got a 325 oven preheating right now, and I'm mixing all my dry ingredients together. I can see the cinnamon still in one spot, so we're going to get that mixed really well. There. Now, I've got some saran over my banana. This is one mashed banana. If you're not going to double the recipe, one banana is all it calls for, but like I said, I double it, so I'm going to use two. You want to use a ripe banana. Remove any dark spots like that. Now, if you don't care for banana, you can certainly use applesauce. It serves the same purpose. It's a sweetener, one of the sweeteners in here. So I'm just going to mash this up, get rid of that. Just take a big fork, or you could use a potato masher or whatever, but you're just going to smash the banana up until it's not in any large chunks. Like I said, I've already got one in there. So our dry ingredients are here, and I've got a banana in there already. And we're going to just mix our wet ingredients in this measuring cup or a bowl. We're not really measuring anything, so it doesn't have to be in a measuring cup. But there's my mashed up banana. So I'm going to add it to this. And I'm going to add maple syrup. You can use honey or any other liquid sweetener that you would like. I like the maple syrup. It's just easier to pour out, and it's pure maple syrup. It's not, you know, the artificial maple syrup that you usually get in the grocery store. I mean, you can get pure as well, but be sure you use pure. It'll keep the recipe healthy. Okay, we've got almond milk. I happen to have, I like this Three Trees brand, but this is vanilla bean almond milk. The vanilla is not going to hurt this recipe at all. It doesn't call for vanilla. You could actually add some if you want, but I just don't happen to have plain almond milk right now. This is going to work fine. It's 2 tablespoons of almond milk. Whoops, that was a spillover, so we'll just go a little less there. Okay, now we need an oil or a fat. I mean, there is a lot of fat in this recipe, natural fat from the nuts, but we also need some coconut oil. Now, you could use butter if you prefer. There's no problem with that, but now you're taking away the vegan aspect of it. You know, it won't be vegan friendly. So, coconut oil is 3 tablespoons, and as you can see, this is hard. If this were summertime, it might be, and warm in my house, it might be really soft. But it's not, it's solid. So we're going to have to put it in the microwave for just a few seconds and get it into a melted form. Now, you can buy fractionated coconut oil. They've processed it and heated it already, and it stays liquid. But fractionated coconut oil is usually used for medicinal purposes, and standard coconut oil is used for baking and cooking. So I like to do it this way. This is actually, you might recognize, an ice cream container, but I buy my coconut oil at Costco, and it's in a massive tub, and it's not convenient to keep in my part of the kitchen where I like to get to often. So I just move it over to something else. So that's what I've done here. So I'm going to take my 3 tablespoons of, excuse me, not 3 tablespoons. I'm doubling this recipe. I'm glad I remembered now. I'd be wondering why it was so dry. It's going to be 6 tablespoons. I doubled everything else. I checked that. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, so I'm going to pop it in the microwave and get that melted, and then we're going to add it and the other ingredients to our dry ingredients. Okay, so I have melted my coconut oil, and in my measuring cup here, I've got my banana, my pure maple syrup, and my almond milk. And I'm just going to stir this up and pour it over my dry ingredients. The reason I'm not adding the coconut oil to the other ingredients in this bowl is my almond milk is cold. And as soon as I pour that almond or the coconut oil over cold almond milk and the cold banana, because it was in the fridge, the coconut oil will solidify again. So I like to just mix it in a little bit first and then pour the coconut oil over the rest. That way it's not hitting directly onto the cold ingredients and it won't get hard. All right, so we're just going to stir this up. Now, I'm going to show you what your batter should look like so that you know. And if it looks dry when you mix it up, you can add another tablespoon or two or whatever of is needed of your almond milk. You could actually add some more mashed banana, just something to add some moisture. But this is looking just the way it's supposed to, and it should if you aren't heavy-handed when you are measuring your ingredients out. So now we are going to let the chia seeds and the ground flax seeds bind this together. So it's going to sit on the counter for about 5 minutes before we shape our cookies, and then we'll come back. Alrighty, this has set for about 5 minutes just to let the flax and the chia seeds bind our cookie mixture. Now, what I like to do is take a 1/4 cup measure and just grease it lightly. And I like to form my cookies in here rather than scooping them out and having them look so rough. I really like a nice uniform shape to the cookies. So I pack my 1/4 cup and then just knock it out. And you get, and then just press on it just a little bit to flatten it. Not a lot though. I don't flatten these much at all. There. And then you might have to go back and grease it again, but there's coconut oil in our batter, so anyway, it should be fine. So then you've just loaded up and knock the cookie out. Lightly press on it. You can shape them however you'd like. I just happen to like this nice uniform shape. I think in her recipe she says to flatten them with your hand so they're you know, more of a flat cookie, but they really turn out nicely doing it this way. So this is what I like to do. And you know me, I change recipes. There. So I'm just going to continue. I'm going to put about 9 on a sheet, and then I'll put another 9 on my second sheet. I'm going to bake them at 325 and then put them on a cooling rack to cool, and they're done. And we'll come back soon. Okay, so our cookies have baked at 325 for at least 20 minutes. I tend to let them stay in there just a little bit longer. The bottom should have just a little bit of color on them, and the cookie should feel dry on the outside. It will still be moist and chewy on the inside. Now, I did want to mention something. If you have a hard time packing that 1/4 cup full of dough and getting it to come out, just measure out a 1/4 cup, dig it out, shape it with your hand in a ball, set it on your cookie sheet, and then just press it into the shape that you desire. Sometimes it can stick and be a little frustrating, so I didn't want you to worry about that if it didn't come out easily. So these are our Superfood breakfast cookies. I'm going to let these cool. I'm going to package them up and bring them over to my grandkids. I hope you are enjoying my videos. If you are, please subscribe, give them a thumbs up, leave a comment, and if you'd like to be notified when the next one is uploaded, if you hit the bell, YouTube will let you know when I've uploaded another video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.